Okay. And for most of you know and have seen Roger's presentations before, and they're always terrific. You can see his title is Ambassador of Optimism. And that's not just for Pinnacle Home Loans, that's in life. He is an optimistic person, who I enjoy greatly. And we're lucky to have him as part of our training team. And this slot, time slot 11 to 12 on Friday, we usually do contract and tech training with Heather. And we're happy to turn it over to Roger today. And we'll be back next week. Heather's in a board meeting at Norbar today. Norbar is having their board meeting. So she's not here, but she'll be here next Friday. And I've got a backlog of contract issues to discuss that have come up over the past couple of weeks since we met. So if you're interested in contract updates and up-to-date tech training, tune in next Friday at 11 o'clock. We do this every week. And I see Deanna popped on, and thank Deanna for suggesting Roger do this training for us. Okay, with that, Roger, I'm going to mute myself and let you go.
All right, thank you so very much. Good morning, wonderful people. Again, thank you for inviting me into your home. It is much appreciated. We're into your office, and you've come to the right place. Be here for a shot of adrenaline, maybe some ideas, and way to launch into the weekend. I'm here for you. We treasure this relationship. I just wish I could see a few more faces. That would be really good. I know some of you may not have put makeup on yet, or maybe we're sitting at the table still in our underwear, whatever it may be, but you're here, you're at the right place. There's Joe, I've just seen it. There's Randy, fantastic. I can see Mary. Let me go ahead and attempt to share my screen. Let's go here, there. It'll take me just a second. And let's go here. Savvy, you can do this. Here. Presenter view, go here. All right, could I just see with a show of thumbs, can you see my screen, please? All right, you can see my screen. That's great. So when I talk about green light, there should be a frame of reference in your brain. There's a red, there's an orange, and there's a green, like when you get to the traffic light. We've got low inventory, and there's very, very little you can do to control the interest rate. There's very little you can do to bring massive amounts of inventory back onto the market. But what are those green light activities you can do today, this weekend, that brings productivity to you, that allows you to put your foot onto the accelerator and pull through because you've got the green light? And so thank you for being here this morning. We're going to just have a little bit of fun. It is still really incumbent upon me just to say thank you to the wonderful fearless leaders of Larry Basso. I look forward to meeting you, Larry, in the Ming Tree Realty that's now joined Bing, Better Homes and Garden. Of course, Randy and Gary, honored to know you. Three fabulous leaders. And this is what leadership looks like. This is what leadership feels like. And we just treasure this relationship. First question I have for the group, and please give this some thought. Would you rather be, and you can only pick one, would you rather be loved, cared for, respected, or referred? Think about this, in business or in life. What would you rather be if you could only pick one? Would you rather be loved, cared for, respected, and referred? And by the way, no matter which one you pick, there's nothing wrong, there's no wrong answer. But there is a way of thinking, which I'm going to suggest. I would like to ask that you would want to be referred. Because when you are referred, ladies and gentlemen, it assumes that you are loved, cared for, and respected. It's a way of life. So I ask you now, as a way of launching this conversation for green light activities, what are you doing to become referred. There's a difference between waiting for a lead and wanting to be referred. There's a massive, massive difference. Just saying, where's my lead? Give me a lead is transactional. But when you wish to be referred and you only do activities that get you referred, it becomes transformational thinking. So here we go. We're going to jump into this discussion and we are going to talk about how you can be transformational. I see I'm getting a little sign here that says low system resources may affect your audio quality. All right. You can still hear me roughly clearly, Gary? Are you still okay? Thumbs up?
Yeah, we're still getting that little echo, but you know, that's what it is. We can,
Right, I'm gonna step back.
we can understand you, and I'm not sure what the setting is.
Okay. So here's what referral thinking means. Think about your database now. Think about your database and everyone you're talking to. Somebody you know knows somebody who should know you. This is crucial. Somebody you know knows somebody who should know you. That is referral thinking. That's a higher minded thinking. That's a green light activity because it means you are going to be staying in the flow with the people you know because they know people who should know you. This is huge in the way you see yourself, what your role is at a time where inventory is just so very, very low. So transformational thinking is referral thinking, and everything I'm going to suggest to you now is going to enhance referral thinking in your business. So thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm the guy with a funny accent. My name is Roger, and I'm the ambassador of optimism. I've got some other crazy titles here at my company, but I prefer ambassador of optimism. I refuse to be average. I refuse to be mediocre. Have you ever thought about it? Only average people are always at their best because their activity is just so low. When you decide that you are not going to be average, something changes in your brain. So as we move forward, aren't you tired of the old platitudes and attitudes? Things like, just hang in there, never give up, don't quit, all good things come to those that wait. I get it, but we need a little more in this time of low inventory, a little more focus about what are these green light activities that are going to pull us through. And even though it may be tough, there are massive opportunities, and let's flesh those out just a little. The transformation that I intend for you to have by the end of this discussion, and it's always important to know what the transformation is. Here it is. One thing can change everything. This is so important. I'm not going to ask you to do a 180-degree change in your business now. I'm going to suggest 1-degree tweaks, little things that you can do today, and watch in amazement how one little thing can change everything. It may even be as simple as you decide to call yourself a gift. You decide to call yourself a solutionist. You decide to call yourself an ambassador of real estate. It might be just that one thing that changed your attitude to the world. One thing can change everything. Can you imagine if someone said to you, let's say you're in Safeway today and you are shopping and you get into a conversation and they say, what do you do for a living? And instead of saying, I'm a realtor in Humboldt County, I'm a realtor in Santa Rosa, you look at them and say with such passion, I walk a mile in my clients' shoes because I don't live with them, but I have to live with myself. They are going to make the finest decisions in real estate. It shocks people. It beats distraction because suddenly you are no longer average. You didn't just say the average thing. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for 15 years. That's like saying, there's a bird. It can fly. No one is impressed by that. But when you lead with your why, something deep inside, people hear you. When I tell people, I get people unstuck, because if you get people unstuck, they've got options, and that clarity sets them free. They thrive, and that makes me happy. You can just see the color drain from people's faces. They go, son of a gun, what do you do? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. One thing can change everything. Life moves at the speed of relationships. What are you doing to enhance that bond when you get it? Not only with the people that you will meet every day, but your database. What are you doing with that? And by the way, database is an IT word. We shouldn't be calling it database. What's a relationship word that's much better than database? How about calling it Karina's private gated community or Amy's private gated community, so that when you look at that CRM that's got all those names, you don't just think of it as a database, but you see it as something to bond with. Come on, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. One thing can change everything. I hinted at this on your intranet Facebook. We are all required as loan originators, as real estate agents, to be excellent in 3 zones. Here is zone 1. We are told we've got to be good one on many. In other words, can you walk into a room and stand with confidence and talk about your listing at your local realtor association? If you get asked a question at the Chamber of Commerce or the Alliance, can you stand up and talk about the market and bring certainty? Because when you bring certainty and confidence, transactions tend to happen. Are you good one on many? The second area, the zone of excellence, we're taught is to be great one-on-one. In your buyer consultation, do you go really deep? Something has changed in your world. Why now? Why this area? Why this price range? You keep going deeper until they realize how much you care. So too with listing presentations. You get there on time for your listing presentation. They open the door. You've got a smile on your face. You've got everything prepared. You don't have the, I've just run over the cat look. You're excited. And you look down and you see they've got their shoes off, and you don't even ask. You just kick your shoes off and you walk in and you say, I'm so proud to have this conversation with you today. May we do this in the kitchen? It's where the center of the energy of the house happens, and I get a feel for the house. Now, you're selling your home. Before we do anything further, what's changed in your life? I want to hear all about it, and go so many levels deep. So we're taught to be great one on many, one on one. And I just gave you some very basic examples. To those of you that wish to be coached on how to approach the door, how to walk in the door, the questions to ask, the tour of the house, I've got stuff for you, but it's beyond the scope of this discussion. But I'm just one call away. So are my loan originators. So what is that third one that is really necessary in this market, the low inventory market, one that we haven't seen like this for many, many years? What is that third zone of excellence? One on many, one on one, and the third one is, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be great one on none. In other words, self-mastery. What are you doing with self-mastery? It is almost impossible to be at peak state when you've got nothing to sell. The only way you're going to change that environment is by self-mastery and doing some specific green light activities which are going to drive you forward. I often feel alone when I do these Zoom meetings because I can't see everybody, but just for the people that I can see, can I just see some jazz hands to know that I am here? Yes, I love the jazz hands. Thank you very much. So let's talk about this one on none, this self mastery. What does it mean? What should it mean to you? Oh my goodness, these are my loan originators that I work with. I love them. And I don't call them loan officers all the time. I call them solutionists. I used to remember when I used to be in the pharmaceutical industry, I used to be a product manager for a while. And I was in a room full of product managers. And I just didn't want to be a product manager like everybody else. So I called myself a brand manager. Why? Because a brand is different from a product. A brand has got personality, it's got style, it's got grace, it's got a lovely face. So I became a brand manager. Why? I could rename my position, I could reframe it, and it launched me to higher places in my career. So I like saying I work with fabulous solutionists that are not just there to close the loan on time with meticulous execution, but to find out what's important to you, make sure you get your commission check on time. What challenges are you facing? Let's do a need analysis. Let's work together in this time. So Deanna Martinez, Debbie Mirabelli, Julie Kay, Cameron LeCave, and to my new colleague, Karen Mansfield, I love working with you, but more from my solutionists just a little later. There is something that sneaks into our world every day and just ruins our goals, ruins our dreams, ruins our visions, keeps us poor, keeps us average, and that is distractions. To those of you that have been in my classes before, you know that in 1975, the average attention span of an American was 15 to 20 minutes. And today it's 3 seconds and dropping. We have less than the concentration of a goldfish. In the old days, if you wanted to study or get information, you'd go to the library, you'd crack a book, maybe you'd buy the CDs or the cassettes. Do you remember cassettes? You'd go and speak to a mentor. You'd sit down in a room and you would study. It doesn't work that way anymore. Here is suddenly your new library. See this smartphone? This has become your new boss. In the old days, your boss would hang out in the corner office. It doesn't. Now, your boss hangs out inside your pants and you get phantom vibrations. You are checking it all the time. This has become information coming at you whether you want it or not. Our focus muscle in our brain has atrophied because our smartphone gives us all the information from the sources we want. And so suddenly everyone else is fake news except what you've got, and we form our own little bubbles. Ladies and gentlemen, distractions are destroying all of us. So for us to focus truly on green light activities, it is time to acknowledge that distractions are a huge, huge part of tearing us apart. So it's like having a thief that walks into your office, opens your petty cash drawer, opens up the petty cash box, and burns $100 in front of you all day and every day. If a thief did that, you'd have them arrested. But our distraction, not focusing on the correct things, not having a focus muscle which is developed, is allowing $100 bills to be burned in front of us every minute. And it's ruining all of us, all of us. So your new boss is your smartphone. And when you realize that, some improvement begins. That when you decide, today I'm going to focus on X, Y, and Z, we're going to talk about it, and I will not be distracted by that smartphone. Or for a certain time of my day, I focus on my customers and my smartphone is not going to ping and distract me. So it's also incumbent and important for me to ask you, all of you today, please do something to make yourself look foolish. Sounds crazy, but most of us don't risk being foolish. Why? We're worried about what other people will think of us. So we stop risking looking foolish. We don't want to have people talk about us. These are fear-based decisions that we make. Stop worrying about what other people think of you and just go forward and do something today. Risk looking foolish. And suddenly you realize, oh, that wasn't so bad. We want to be liked. You just have to look at the presidential elections to realize you can be the most powerful man in the country, the leader of the free world, and you only won by 51%. 49% don't want you. It doesn't matter what people think. Time for you to step up. At your funeral, for most of us, ladies and gentlemen, only about 6 people will cry. That's sad, I know, but it's a reminder. Stop worrying about what other people think. Go ahead and decide to do these green light activities we're going to talk about. Risk looking foolish, and great, great forces come to your aid. Let's decide to beat distractions, put that smartphone aside for a while. Let's risk looking foolish, because worrying about what other people think of you makes absolutely no sense in reality in the world. So, something bewitching happens at midnight on a Sunday. At midnight on a Sunday, at the bewitching hour, all of us are leveled at the same level. We each have 168 hours ahead of us. That's how many hours there are in a week. So I ask you, Karina, what are you going to do with your 168 hours? Patty, what are you going to do with your 168 hours? Doesn't matter whether you're a newbie, a rookie, a top producer, you have 168 hours. What are you going to do with yours during this low inventory time? What are you going to do with the self-mastery with 168 hours that starts at midnight on a Sunday? So let's jump in and put some color onto that. There is a labor revenue exchange that all of us go through here. I know that Randy is a hardworking man. He puts in labor, he works for an hour, and that gives him revenue back. He puts in labor again for another hour, and he gets revenue back. We all put in a labor revenue exchange per hour. So what are you worth per hour? Take your gross commission income from last year and divide it by 2020. Gross commission income from last year divided by 2020 will give you what you are worth per hour. It is now incumbent upon us to raise that and match that. And we do that with green light activities. You're going to put the labor in anyway. There's a labor revenue exchange. So what you choose to do now is vital. It's vital. Let's jump in a little more. I've just asked you that question. What are you worth per hour? Once you know that, there's a certain amount of strength that comes with that. Because it's not about what you say yes to. It's more about what are you going to say no to. You have your yes list and your no list. And I'm going to give you some examples of this. But the 80-20 principle comes into focus here. And I won't spend too much time on that, but you know Vilfredo Pareto in the 16th century, an Italian economist, he noticed that in his town, that 20% of the people had 80% of the money. And then he noticed in Italy in general, 80% of the wealth of Italy was found with 20% of the people. And over the years, that has evolved to become true for everything. 80% of the wealth of Europe is found in 20% of the countries. 80% of all the revenue in the world is found with 20% of the countries, and you know that to be true. But then it branches out. Karina, 20%, 80% of the wear of your carpet is found in 20% of the area. Lisa, 20% of your clothes you wear 80% of the time. It just is that way. 80% of the divorces are caused by 20% of the people who marry and divorce multiple times and skew the results. The 80-20 principle is everywhere. 80% of what you achieve every day comes from only 20% of your activities. But which 20%? Focusing on what it is of those green light activities will make all the difference in your world. So when you approach 100 people in sales, how many are going to push you back? The answer is 80. 80 out of 100 will push you back. It's the imbalance in the universe. It's meant to be that way. If we all approached 100 people and 100 people said yes, there's not enough money to go around. Work with the imbalance in the universe. And when you work on your scripts, your dialogues, how you see yourself, your natural personal power, the conversations you have, going deep, 80 out of 100 won't push you back. Maybe only 70 out of 100 will push you back, but it gives you that incremental lead that changes everything. So what are your 20% of activities? What are your green light activities in this low inventory market for self-mastery for you to move forward? Let's have a look. Here are these green light activities. And of course, when you think of green, you know, because we drive, there's the orange and there's the red. Overseas, they call it amber. But let's see. I'm going to give you an example of an activity. And let's see if we can identify if this is a red light activity, which means no production. Or is it orange, which could lead to red or could lead to green? Or is it a green light activity? I hope you're not all like me. I get these calls that say scan likely. Who is the scan likely person? Anyway, I'm going to throw out an activity and you tell me what you think it is. You're going to take an early lunch. Red light, orange light, or green light? It could be an orange, but it's possibly a red light because you're taking an early lunch. You take an early lunch and you decide to have a glass of wine and you feel nice and mellow. And you think, I'll start again tomorrow. Red, orange, or green? See, that's definitely red. And I could go on with these examples. You're busy prospecting and your friend calls and says, oh man, I can't find an Uber in the area. Won't you run me to the airport? And you say, sure, I'll run you to the airport. Is that a green, an orange, or a red? That's a red. That is a red. You have disrespected yourself. When you have got down in your planner that you are prospecting from 9 to 11 with your private gated community, nothing except personal injury, you've hurt yourself, or your serious family illness. So when you are prospecting, the only two things that will stop you, three things, is illness with your family, personal injury with burnout, or a listing that can only be taken at that time. This is self-mastery, learning to say, no, I'm not going to do this. Saying to people, jump into my office anytime you wish. I have an open door policy. Red light activity. Saying to people, I'm always available for you to chat with me from 1 to 3. I've set aside that time. The rest of the time you are focused, knowing and understanding that multitasking does not mean doing multiple things at the same time. Multitasking means doing one thing at a time for a specified period of time. And when that specified period of time is over, you move on to the next activity. When you pile things on, that's not multitasking, that is polyphasing or stacking. And polyphasing and stacking is part of distraction and it lowers our IQ. Time for self-mastery, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can give you any other crazy examples here. I don't feel like it today. I'll make my follow-up calls tomorrow. Perfect for being a red light. The fierce urgency of now. If you've got follow-up calls, there's nothing more important for you to do than do your follow-up calls. Do your follow-up calls. And finally, then I'll move on from this. Let's see. Prospect tomorrow, chosen open door policy. All right. So I think you're getting the feeling. What happens if you say to me, Roger, I cannot prospect Monday and Tuesday. I'm chasing documentation. Oh, I hear this one all the time. If I don't get all these documents together, it's not going to be closed, and I don't trust anyone. I've got to chase these documents. Be very careful, ladies and gentlemen. You can have control or growth. You can't have both. When Larry and Randy and Gary provide you with fabulous transaction coordinators or assistants to help you, trust them to do their job. And you go out and do the $500 an hour job, the green light activities. So in other words, letting go of control is huge when it comes to deciding red, orange, and green. And in fact, if you were to look down at your planner now, can you assign a color to everything that's in your planner? Is it a red? Is it an orange? And is it a green? And if there's too many oranges and reds, stop doing that and replace it with hire somebody to do that, or get a system in place to do that, or just reclaim your time and go and spend some more time with your family. But only do what's in your planner and only green light activities. Again, as I mentioned earlier, stop calling it a database. Let's call it your private gated community. And when you decide, by the way, this is your number one activity in a low inventory market. The closer you get to your database, the more likely you are to get a referral, because these people in your database know you, like you, trust you, care for you, and will refer you. You wish to be referred. Is there a time in your planner every day, let's say from 9 to 11, where you get close to your own private gated community? And you'll notice underneath, I've got written there ABC. In the old days, ABC used to stand for always be closing. Today, ABC stands for always be contributing, always be connecting. So as you are calling your database, and I'm going to give you examples of dialogues and scripts, and if you want more, please reach out to my solutionist. There's nothing you could ask for that I can't help you at some level with. And it costs you nothing, and I'm always available. ABC, always be contributing. When you care and you add value to people consistently, when they realize how much you care, they can't wait to refer you on to somebody else. They know somebody else that needs to know you. Remember, that is referral thinking. The number one reason, and all of you, by the way, are fabulous realtors. You would all go around the world to bring your client a glass of water. Your moral compass is always facing in the right direction. Your fiduciary duties are heightened and honed and skilled. And you truly are a fabulous real estate agent. If that is true, which I know it is, why aren't you getting a referral from every single person in your private gated community? And the usual answers are, well, I'm not asking. I'm not staying in touch, all of which has merit. But the main reason you aren't getting a referral from every single person in your own private gated community is something called perceived indifference. It's not that you don't like them. It's not that they don't like you. They perceive you are doing well without them. And they're giving their little referral to somebody who is bothering to stop and smell the roses with them. Somebody, ladies and gentlemen, is eating your lunch right now because you have decided not to stay close to your private gated community. Have you noticed companies like Zillow and Redfin and all these people are always looking for people, leads for people who are roughly in the 8th year of living in their house. Why the 8th year? Because that's the year people want to put their house on the market and move on. So everyone is fighting for that customer in the 8th year. But because you know that relationships are important, every time you put a client into a house, they are worthy of 4 referrals every year for 8 years. What is the lifetime value of one of your clients that you put into a home? 8 times 4 is 32 leads per homeowner over 8 years. And when they come to sell their home as well, it'll be 33. 33 is the lifetime value of a single client that you've put into a home, and perceived indifference is robbing you of everything you deserve because of that, because you are not staying in close contact and thinking referrals. You're thinking, well, they don't need me. They're already in their house. Who else has got a lead for me? Break transactional thinking and start getting into transformational thinking. And I know all of you agree with me on some level that there is nothing more. The biggest green light activity now is to get back into the flow with all of these people that you have worked with in the past. Again, if you're wanting more color and more depth and specific tactics, send me a note. Call me. I have got all the solutions that you need. The broad message is your number one activity right now is getting closer and closer to your database. And stop letting the drunk monkey. Buddha says our brains are filled with drunk monkeys that jump around in our brain and say, oh, that stuff that Roger is talking about, that's for other realtors. I'm different. My clients are different. Stop being detached from the world. You're not different. Time to look goofy, time to look foolish, and just go ahead and call them today. How about doing this? And to those of you who have been in my classes, you know this to be true. The bare minimum, how about doing a 2 by 2 by 2 every day? 2 emails to 2 emails, 2 personalized notes, 2 voicemails. That's only 6 people. And if you did that every day, watch the compound effect. But Roger, I hear you cry, I could do more than that. Good. Then do a 5 by 5 by 5 or a 2 by 3 by 1, some variation. But 2 emails, 2 voicemails, 2 personalized notes a day. And watch the magic start. Okay, so now I've given you the quantitative side of this. And I can hear what's going on in your brain. But Roger, what do I say to them? Well, from a 10,000-foot view, here it is. If you haven't spoken to them for 6 months, a year, 2 years, you lead with the most logical thing in the world. Gary, it's Roger here. Yes, I know it's a blast from the past. You know, I could kick myself I don't speak to you more often. You crossed my mind last night, and I wasn't going to let another day go past without reaching out and saying hello. You see, there it is. Just get back in the flow. Don't ask them those stupid things that we used to be taught in the old days. Hi, Gary, this is Roger. I just wanted to know, do you know anybody who wants to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate that I could speak to today? Don't do that. Those were the old days where it was ABC, always be closing. Today, it's ABC, always be contributing. If you call and use that previous script, welcome to the NFL. No friends left. They will ghost you. All right. So I could kick myself. I was in your file last night. You know, you crossed my mind. I wasn't going to let another day go past. Just get back in the flow. Recommendations. You can call after a while and recommend a book, a movie, a restaurant, a plumber, a drywall specialist. Isn't that nice? The giving, ABC, always be contributing. Talking to them. What are the biggest challenges you're having right now? Oh my goodness. What have you tried? Oh, what's your next step? When are you going to do that? That's amazing. You know, I've got a chapter in a book that I'm reading that might be able to help you with that. Just recommend help and stuff and ask them about their challenges. Get into the flow. They know people who need to know you. That's referral thinking. And of course, many of you know the FORD acronym: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. FORD. You don't have to do all of those. Just pick one. Just talk about family this time. Then occupation, recreation, dreams. Where are you guys going on a vacation this year? Where did you go last year? FORD. Get back in the flow. What is the lifetime value of a single client? It's 32 referrals, plus the sale of their home, 33. At the end of the year or at any time, especially as the market is changing, you and one of my solutionists could be working together. Let's conduct a mortgage review. I work with a Deanna Martinez Stein, or a Karen Mansfield, or a Leon Crude, or whatever it may, whoever, one of my, Julie Kay. She's fabulous. She's going to conduct a review. It's not going to cost you anything. Let's make sure the market is giving you everything you deserve. Also, the biggest boon you've been given now is equity. People have got equity. They haven't been treating their homes like ATM machines. They haven't. So even those that were in forbearance have caught up. They've got tons of equity. Maybe they want to do a cash out and buy a second home. Maybe buy an investment property. Talk to them. Do a CMA. Put a little sticky note on it. You've done so well. Congratulations. Let me know if we can take this to the next level. Finally, as a realtor, I'm out and about all the time. I meet so many people. This is you talking to your private gated community, to one of your people. How do I know if I'm talking to someone I could refer to you? Maybe you refer something to one of your people in your database. This is the contribution. This is a great way of living your life. So, deciding who you are and to only do green light activities, huge. Deciding to set aside time every day to do a 2x2x2 with your database, huge. Number 3, explode the F-bomb. Now, it's very important to explode the F-bomb. What is the F-bomb? F-bomb is follow-up. If someone has given you a lead, you follow it till the end. Just saying, I called them twice and they didn't respond, not good enough. You call again, and you call again, and you call again. You follow up, and you follow up, and you follow up. Look at all those phone numbers that are in the console of your car, all those phone numbers that are on sticky pads on your desk, those notes and phone numbers that are inside your suit pockets. Bring them out. Follow up, follow up, follow up, and then follow up again. Set aside a time for follow up. Work with your strategic partners, your vendors, like your loan officers. Do co-marketing with them. Get them to produce flyers for you. Get them to work hard for you at open houses. Ask them to come up with great ideas to get all your clients to sign in. Door prizes. Let's create activity. Life moves at the speed of relationships. So again, as I show you my solutionists, I'm proud of them. Put them through their paces. Make them work. They intend to work hard for you as well. And as a reminder, and this is my final slide before I hand this back to Gary and Randy and Larry, please, you're not just realtors in Humboldt County or in Sonoma or in Marin or in Napa. Stop, ladies and gentlemen, stop being average, stop being mediocre. You are a solutionist, you're a gift. You change people's lives. You do help people go into the next phase of their life. Think about what it is. Every time someone asks you, what do you do for a living? What is going to come out of your mouth to break a 3-second distraction? What are you going to do to hook him? If you want to know how to do that, send me a note. I'll send you all the steps on how you can find your why or creative way, your purpose. Walk a mile in my client's shoes. Or I don't live with my clients, but I have to live with myself. They will make the finest investment. People are astounded by passion. Passion is more infectious than hepatitis and COVID combined. When you have a smile on your face, people wonder what you've been up to. Passion, put the emotion into promotion. You cannot control Trump. You cannot control Putin. You cannot control Fox News or whatever your poison is. CNN, Biden, whatever. Let it go. Go out with passion and energy and enjoy this world. You are a gift. You are a solutionist, and people are lucky to have you. So Gary, I'm here, and I want to remind everybody who has been listening, whether you're wanting examples of a niche that you could go after, examples of scripts, examples of how to overcome certain objections, I am just a phone call or an email away. I am always available and always work with my solutionists, with your professional realtors. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Roger. Great as always. We use this term, we help people with transitions, change.
Yes.
That's an easy one. What do? I help people with transitions in their lives. It's always been one of our who we are statements.
Yeah.
And I want to recognize too, Karina and David, Karina Herrera and David Hughes, our leaders up in Lake County. They're doing a great job for us. Yeah. Randy, you want to add something?
No, just another wonderful conversation. Haley and I are laughing at some of your comments, Roger, because they're awesome. And it's about not getting ready to get ready. It's about doing it. It's about action steps. And Roger's giving you action steps to forward your career in business. So think about it, but do it. It'll make you a better agent for sure. Thank you, everybody.
I see Rebecca's got her hand up. Do you have a question? Comment?
Yes, I do. Always had something to ask. So I got hung up on, and I can follow this up with an email with you, Roger, if that's better. But you were talking about stacking, like stacking activities and how it can lower your IQ.
Yep.
And it was very jarring for me because as a mom with a kid in grade school, that is my specialty. Is stacking.
Yep.
I volunteer for the PTA and and I volunteer to coach soccer and all these things that are because I'm also a mom. So dividing up the time, I can definitely get burned out, but I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that and what your thoughts are.
Yes. And thank you for the question, Rebecca. I've learned that in my household, my beautiful wife can be cooking, having a discussion with the kids, doing open heart surgery on the left-hand side, pick a fight with me and win easily. And so I'm completely aware that there are more connections between the left and right-hand side hemispheres in the female brain than there is in the male brain. I know that to be true. My only comment to assist you maybe in advancing this conversation is, as much as possible, when it comes to following up with your database or talking with a client, that as much as possible they become whole body listening. Your brain is not just waiting to respond, but your brain is listening to understand before you respond. And that normally comes from one activity, and that is you, Mr. Client, in front of me are everything at this moment. But outside that, I am in awe of women who can stack and polyphase. And being a mom, I don't know how you'd get out of it. But when it comes to maybe just 2 hours a day, when you're dealing with your database, just decide it's one thing at a time.
Thank you. That clears things up for me.
Thank you. Good to see you, Mary.
Okay, any other questions for Roger now while we got him? And he has made himself available through, maybe you could type your number and email into the chat, and we'll have that. People can reach out to you one-on-one, and he's a great counselor for whatever is you're needing at the time. Whether it's personal or business, Roger's available to you.
One of the things that I want to remind you, one of the reasons that we get to have Roger and speak and training and him being fully accessible to us is the use of the mortgage lenders that work. And Roger has brought that up before. They have a whole slew of quality people that can help you. Of course, mostly in the wine country group. They're not up at Ming Tree at this time. We'll see how that rolls in the future. But you know, take advantage of it. They're really good lenders. And the neat thing about it is if you ever have any issues, you can call Roger or Nevin, and they can help make sure those tough deals get through. So remember that. And again, they do a lot for our company, and Roger can't tell you how much we appreciate everything you do, from, you know, supporting our summer party at the ranch to, you know, being there a phone call away. So
Always.
thanks again. Great seeing everybody on here. Great seeing our family grow, and happy hunting out there. Get some listings.
All right, carry on, everybody. We'll put this on recording and share it with the others, so you know who haven't seen it. So
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Roger.
Bye.
Uh-huh.